Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're jumping right into a pretty magnificent culinary journey. We are exploring the incredibly rich, diverse world of artisanal Indian appetizers. If you love discovering how specific, nuanced techniques like, say, a simple overnight strain, a charcoal infusion, or the absolute perfect shallow fry can literally transform the texture and flavor of everyday ingredients, well, you're definitely in the right place. We're going to break down the science and the art behind 6 totally distinct, mouth-watering kebabs and tikkis, looking closely at how their unique architectures are built completely from the ground up.
Think of this as our tasting menu for today. We'll start with the artisanal platter, move into melt-in-the-mouth masterpieces, hit up the crispy cravings, explore some earthy and smoky sensations, and finally, wrap up with crafting your perfect bite.
Section 1. The artisanal platter. Okay, let's dive right into this vibrant, diverse ecosystem of flavor. We've got 6 distinct creations here: the Lucknowi Dahi Ke Kabab, the crispy Aloo Tikki Chaat, the Smoky Hara Bhala Kabab, the Rajma Galuti Kabab, the corn cheese Kurkuri Tikki, and the soya Shami Kabab. Just notice the incredible variety in color, shape, and visible texture happening all at once. From the golden brown crusts to those deep, rich greens and the bright little pops of red pomegranate, every single element is purposefully designed to offer you a completely different tactile and flavor experience.
Section 2. Melt-in-the-mouth masterpieces.
To truly understand how these bites achieve that ultra-delicate melt-in-the-mouth consistency, we really have to look at their foundational bases. For the Dahi Ke Kabab, it relies on 1.5 cups of thick, hung curd that has been strictly strained overnight. And honestly, removing that whey, totally non-negotiable if you want a workable dough instead of a wet, sticky mess. Then for the Rajma Galuti, it utilizes 1.5 cups of boiled red kidney beans. But the real secret here is in the incredibly fine mash. Taking a robust, hearty bean and processing it down to a super smooth consistency is step 1 in mimicking that traditional, ultra-tender Galuti texture.
Let's focus on building that Lucknowi Dahi Ke Kabab. Because hung curd is so inherently soft, it absolutely needs structural support. So, the recipe calls for a half cup of grated paneer and 2 tablespoons of roasted gram flour, commonly known as besan. These act as crucial binders. They hold the moisture in without making the kebab dense. The flavor profile is then beautifully rounded out with a half teaspoon of aromatic cardamom powder, a nice little kick from 2 chopped green chilies, and a fun textural surprise from 2 tablespoons of chopped cashews.
Now the method here requires a very, very gentle touch. Step 1, you mix that curd, paneer, besan, and spices into a soft dough, but be careful not to overwork it. Step 2, shape them into delicate patties and give them a very light coating of breadcrumbs just to protect the interior. Finally, shallow fry them in 2 to 3 tablespoons of ghee, and you have to do this on a medium flame. The heat must be strictly medium. Too hot and they burn, too low and they just absorb all the ghee and fall apart.
Now what's really interesting here is the single pivotal technique required for the Rajma Galuti Kabab, a 10-minute charcoal smoke infusion. Traditional Galuti is all about that deep, smoky aroma, right? So applying this exact technique to a vegetarian Rajma base is literally what bridges the gap between a simple bean patty and a true artisanal masterpiece.
Beyond just the smoke, the Rajma Galuti utilizes a very specific flavor and texture profile. Check out the first ingredient: 1 tablespoon of raw papaya paste. In culinary science, raw papaya contains an enzyme called papain, which is a really powerful meat tenderizer. Using it here on the kidney beans helps break down any remaining starches, ensuring absolute, undeniable softness. That's paired up with a tablespoon of roasted besan for binding, a teaspoon of specialized Galuti masala for that authentic aromatic punch, and a teaspoon of ginger garlic paste for a sharp, savory depth.
The assembly of this one requires precision. First, you blend the rajma, the papaya, and the spices into a perfectly smooth paste. Next comes that crucial 10-minute charcoal smoke infusion we just talked about. Finally, because this paste is incredibly soft, shaping it requires a very light hand before you shallow fry it in 3 tablespoons of desi ghee. And notice the instruction here, on a slow flame. This slow flame cooking process is absolutely critical. It gently crisps that delicate exterior while making sure the center remains beautifully soft and aromatic.
Section 3. The crispy cravings.
And this brilliantly illustrates how different techniques yield entirely different types of crunch. For the Aloo Tikki, it relies on an iron griddle. The mashed potatoes are combined with cornstarch and then essentially seared in ghee over direct, flat heat. But for the Kurkuri Tikki, it takes a modern fusion approach. The patties are dipped in a thin cornstarch batter and then rolled in crushed cornflakes before being deep fried. So one gives you a rustic, pan-seared crust, while the other gives you this heavy, almost shattered glass kind of crunch.
Let's look at the actual architecture of the crispy Aloo Tikki Chaat. It starts with a base of 2 large boiled potatoes mashed with cornstarch. But you know, a chaat is all about the layers. So on top of that potato base, we add half a cup of piping hot white pea ragda curry. Then comes this sharp, cooling contrast, a third of a cup of sweet curd. We follow that with the bright, sharp notes of 2 tablespoons each of green mint and sweet tamarind chutneys. Finally, it gets garnished with vibrant pomegranate arils and a tablespoon of crispy sev. It's a literal masterpiece of balancing hot, cold, sweet, sour, and spicy all in one bite.
The method to actually serve this is incredibly dynamic. Step 1. You crisp those potato patties in 2 tablespoons of ghee on your iron griddle until they are a beautiful dark golden color. Step 2 is where the magic really happens. You place the hot tikki on a plate and deliberately crush the center. Why? Because in step 3, when you pour over the hot ragda, the cooling curd, and those vibrant chutneys, that crushed center acts like a crater. It captures all those incredible liquids, so every single bite is packed with maximum flavor and texture.
Moving over to our other crispy contender, the corn cheese curry tikki features some wonderful modern fusion elements. The core of this tikki is built on 1 cup of coarsely ground sweet corn, giving it a really great natural sweetness and texture. That's combined with a half cup of mashed potatoes for structure, a tablespoon of chopped herbs for freshness, and a brilliant, gooey center of a half cup of grated mozzarella cheese, assuming of course you can resist eating the cheese straight from the bowl first.
To achieve its signature curry or crispy texture, the technique changes completely. Step 1. Combine your corn, cheese, potatoes, and herbs and shape them into patties. Step 2. Dip them into a thin cornstarch batter, which basically acts as the glue. Step 3 is the real game changer here. You roll them generously in a half cup of crushed cornflakes. And then, unlike our other shallow fried kebabs, you deep fry these in oil until they are intensely golden brown and shatteringly crisp.
Section 4. Earthy and smoky sensations. Now, the Smoky Hara Bhala Kabab is just a beautiful celebration of vibrant greens and earthy flavors. The build starts with a massive 2 cups of blanched spinach that has been pureed completely dry. You combine that with a cup of boiled green peas, half a cup of mashed potatoes, and 2 tablespoons of roasted chana powder to absorb any leftover moisture. It's spiced up with a sharp ginger green chili paste. But check out the center. The recipe calls for a hidden stuffing of chopped cashews and raisins. It provides this amazing surprise hit of sweetness and crunch right inside that savory, earthy green exterior.
The assembly really highlights that hidden surprise. In step 1, you mash your spinach, peas, potatoes, and spices together. In step 2, you carefully portion the mix out, stuff the center with your chopped cashews and raisins, and shape the patties to seal them up perfectly. Step 3 requires shallow frying them in 2 to 3 tablespoons of ghee. The visual cue you're looking for here for doneness is very specific. You want the exterior to turn a rich, dark green and become wonderfully crispy.
Finally, we look at the soya shami kebab. This is a brilliant vegetarian take on a traditionally meat-heavy dish. The protein base here is 1 cup of soaked soya granules paired with a half cup of chana dal. But what gives this kebab its deep, authentic shami flavor is the heavy reliance on whole aromatic spices cooked right into the base. 1 bay leaf, 2 cloves, and a cinnamon stick. This is all rounded out with a teaspoon of ginger garlic paste and a bright, fresh finish of a 1/4 cup of cilantro.
The preparation here is all about deep flavor infusion. Step 1 is actually unique among our recipes today. You pressure cook the soya, the chana dal, and those whole spices all together. This forces those deep aromatic oils right into the very core of the soya granules. In step 2, you absolutely must remember to remove the bay leaf, cloves, and cinnamon stick before grinding the mixture into a perfectly smooth slurry. Step 3 involves folding in your fresh cilantro, shaping them into flat kebabs, and pan-searing them in 3 tablespoons of ghee until they develop a rich, gorgeous golden brown crust.
Section 5. Crafting your perfect bite.
So, the crucial point is this. Looking back at our artisanal platter, the magic isn't just in having great ingredients. The real magic is in the method. Whether it's having the patience to strain curd overnight for the dahi kebab, utilizing raw papaya and a 10-minute charcoal smoke for the rajma galudi, or understanding that an iron griddle yields a very, very different crunch than a deep-fried cornflake coating, mastery lies entirely in the technique. Each bite is a testament to how meticulous preparation totally transforms the plate.
We've journeyed through the melt in the mouth, the super crispy, and the deeply earthy.
The tools, the ingredients, and the exact steps are all right here. So looking at these 6 incredible options, which artisanal bite are you inspired to step into the kitchen and craft first? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy cooking!